When it comes to President Trump, the challenge to discern the controversies that matter from the ones that don't. The Ukraine controversy matters, because with the presidential election next year, the gloves are off on impeachment.
These people have gone absolutely nuts.
Has somehow found the fountain of youth. I think he gets up out of bed. It's the fight. He loves the fight. He really does.
Round one. Yesterday, Democrats demanded documents, a subpoena from the White House, including from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Vice President Mike Pence was asked to reveal any involvement he had in pressuring Ukraine. The documents relate to a call between Trump and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in July. President Trump pushed for him to investigate the involvement of Joe Biden's son, Hunter, in a Ukrainian energy firm in exchange for the release of a multi-million-dollar US military aid package. Joe Biden is at this stage the one to beat in the election next year. The evidence of one whistleblower and now a possible second, a raft of text messages released this week, point to a president using public money to solicit a foreign power to dig dirt on an opponent. The White House deny this, saying Trump was chasing down corruption. Joe Biden's comeback yesterday.
All this talk of the president about corruption comes from the most corrupt president we've had in modern history. The fact of the matter is, you wonder what this guy's going to do. Have you ever seen, a rhetorical question, a president ever so unhinged as this guy is? That's what worries me. Let the House focus on what they're focusing on in the Senate, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to beat him on the merits. Thank you.
Mike Pompeo in Greece today doubled down on the White House line that it was a Democrat witch hunt.
This is what's wrong. When the world doesn't focus on the things that are right, the things that matter, the things that impact real people's lives, and instead you get caught up in some silly gotcha game.
Up until recently, the Democrats were torn on whether to push ahead with proceedings. But with this controversy, as far as they're concerned, the dam broke on possible impeachment. Impeachment is basically bringing a set of charges against a president which form the basis for a trial. House committees investigate and make submissions to the House Judiciary Committee, which considers the case. If evidence of wrongdoing is found, the House of Representatives votes to impeach. With Democrats in control there, a simple majority, all that's needed, is pretty much a sure thing. Then, though, a trial begins in the Senate, which culminates in a vote which could force the president to stand down. But in a Republican-controlled Senate, that is, at the moment, unlikely. Because Republicans are not breaking rank, at least most Republicans. Senator Mitt Romney called Trump's behaviour this week appalling. Today, the president on Twitter called him a pompous ass. If President Trump is in love with the fight, he will be completely infatuated with the months to come.
Warwick O'Brien there. Well, I'm joined now by Karen von Hippel, formerly with the US State Department, now Director General of RUSI, a think tank specialising in international defence and security. Karen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, President Trump has come back incredibly bullish with his response. Is this all really going to hurt him?
It's really hard to say. I mean, it's so fascinating what's happening. The chair of the Federal Election Commission even came out on Twitter and on the news last week saying that soliciting or receiving help from a foreign government or a foreign individual was illegal. So she said that publicly. He has now done that several times, not just with Ukraine, as we know, but also with China. We all saw it on TV last week. Of course, during the elections when he asked Russia to interfere, he's done that several times. And so it's quite extraordinary that he does that in public. And at the moment, his party is still standing by him.
And we saw Mitt Romney has sort of broken rank. Is it likely that other Republicans are going to join in that?
I think it's very unlikely right now, unless something far more incriminating comes out. But to me, this seems quite incriminating, the fact that even it is illegal for him to do that. I think that most of the other Republicans are very worried about their base, and Trump is still very popular in the base of the party. Now, that's not all over America, and there's certainly some people that are on the fence, and there are one or two that might decide that, you know, the country may matter more than the party.
Right. So, I mean, you mentioned other foreign leaders. We've heard Donald Trump publicly talking about China getting involved. There are reports that Boris Johnson was asked for help in evidence to undermine the Mueller inquiry, looking into campaign ties to Russia. Would that form part of any impeachment investigation, do you think?
Absolutely. I think that they'll look at all accusations or other stories. Australia, Italy, several other countries have been, supposedly, Trump has asked them to help. And so I think that will be part of the impeachment inquiry, which will, I think that the Democrats will try very hard not to have this drag on too long. They're very aware that the country is fed up with this. The country has fatigue. Just as the UK has Brexit fatigue, America has really a fatigue of this whole Trump presidency in so many ways. Every day a new tweet, every day another outrage. He insults foreign leaders. He insults a 16-year-old girl. People are tired and they just want it to be over with. Now his hardcore still support him, but I think that the vast majority of Americans are really tired of it.
So let's talk about the Democrats then, because Joe Biden, he denies any wrongdoing, but clearly he's going to suffer from this. Is he really a viable candidate for 2020?
It's hard to say. I think he is a viable candidate. I think in many ways he appeals to white working class men, which of course was Trump's base. But some other candidates could easily surge. It's still quite early in the campaign, and so it's hard to say. Elizabeth Warren is obviously doing very well right now, but so is Pete Buttigieg, who's quite young and he's untested. So I think it's still early. I mean, don't forget, at this stage, I think both President Clinton and Obama were not the number one candidates at this stage in the campaign. So there's still a long way to go.
Very quickly, how can the Democrats avoid getting dragged down into this?
Right. I think that they will. That's why I think that Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, is very focused on trying to get this over with soon so that they can get out there and talk about health care and talk about issues that they think that Americans care about.
Thanks so much for coming in. We'll watch that carefully. Karen von Hippel.